To submit your 990 report through Vault, you will go to the Accounting menu, and then you will click on Tax Filing. From there, you will then click on the Add 990 report. If you have one that states incomplete submission, you will either need to delete that one, or you will need to click on the pencil icon to edit it and finish filling it out to submit it. Once you click on Add 990 Report, you will come to Step 1 of the 990 tax report, and which is income expenses. And you need to make sure that your report dates are correct. The fiscal year will auto-populate. If you think the fiscal year is incorrect, you can view past 990 reports, or you can look in Vault under the chapter menu and then chapter detail. If you need it to be changed, you can contact OmegaFi and we can fix it for you. The report start date and the report end date should line up with the fiscal year. It should span 1 year. Once that is confirmed, you can then click on Save and Continue. This will bring you to the report information section of Step 1 of income expenses. The most important question on this list is number 3. Are your gross receipts normally $50,000 or less? Oftentimes, this question is answered yes incorrectly, and answering it incorrectly will cause you to have to resubmit the form and delay the process. It is very important to check your income for the tax year before answering that question. If you are unsure on how to answer this question, you can watch our video on how to answer the 50K question to assist you. For number 4, the organization's mailing address populates, but make sure that it's correct. Our best practices say you should have a P.O. box. It needs to be a neutral location future officers can also receive mail at. Number 5, the principal officer will usually be the president. And for number 6, the person who is responsible for the financial operations, which is usually the treasurer of the chapter, will sign the return. For number 7, if OmegaFi has filed your return for you last year, you do not have to add a copy of it. We only need a copy if we didn't file for you. And then for number 8, make sure that you enter your federal tax ID number, and then you can click on Save and Continue. Under the Income Expenses section for step number 1, you need to verify that the difference between the beginning cash and end cash is the same as the difference between the revenue and expenses. In other words, the change in cash balance from the beginning of the year to the end of the year should be the same as net income. So if you see here, the balance is $41,435.27. And the net income is the same. The beginning cash balance should be the same as what was on the ending cash balance on your previous tax return. If you do all of your transactions within Vault, that includes processing payments within Vault, adding additional fees within Vault that don't include normal chapter dues, for example, t-shirts, fines, etc., using bill pay to pay vendors and ordering an officer purchasing card, everything will be in Vault and it will auto-populate in this area. You also need to make sure to process all payments through OmegaFi. Do not collect locally. If you do collect any local payments, you will have to add that to the income portion of this report. However, if you have an external bank account, you will then need to go in and manually add any transactions from that bank account into Vault. If you don't see your local account listed in the cash accounts portion at the top of the form, you're going to have to add another account. To capture that activity, you will click on Add Another Account. Give it a name, enter the beginning balance as of the start date of the fiscal year and the ending balance as of the last date of the fiscal year. Once you do that, then you will go in and add each individual expense that went through that account under the expenses section of this report. One thing to note is that Omega Phi does record when we transfer to that external bank account. However, we do not have access to that external bank account, so we don't know what the expenses are if you do not record those transactions within Vault. If your external account shows in Vault that it has an unreasonable amount of money in it, it's probably because expenses have not been recorded. You can view our video on how to update your account register within our Help Center for further information. To correct the balance of an external bank account that shows in the cash accounts portion, you can add an adjustment to the beginning and ending balance. It is important throughout the year to keep the account register of your external bank account up to date with all of that information so it will pull into your 990 report when you are ready to submit it. You can view your account registers in Vault by going to the Accounting menu and then Account Registers. You click into the account register and from there you can then record your expenses. Any registers within Vault you do not need to adjust. The only register you will need to adjust are external bank accounts. Once you get the message that states your assets and liabilities are balanced with your income and expenses, you will be able to save and continue and go to the next step. Moving on to step 2 of filing your 990 report within Vault. Under the questionnaire, there are 7 sections. For section 1, under number 1, you will add the website address if it's applicable. If not, you will put in NA. You'll add the year your chapter chartered. Number 3, it auto-populates, so make sure that that is correct. And for number 4, the voting members is how many members of the governing body, not the entire organization. And then 4B will auto-populate the officers currently listed. If any officers have received compensation, put how much they have been compensated under the salary column. Number 5, this will be anyone on your executive board plus any alumni volunteers. And then number 6 will be the state your chapter is located. For section 2, the question to number 1 is usually no. And then for number 2, that will be auto-populated. For section 3, all of these questions are auto-populated except for number 13. For number 13, if you are a house corporation, make sure the auto-populated answer is correct. And for number 17, sometimes chapters will answer yes, but the assets listed are usually owned by your house corporation, not the chapter. So double check before changing that answer to yes. It is usually going to be no. Moving on to section 4, number 1 is usually going to be no unless you filed outside of Vault. For number 2, if you have employees or process payroll, then answer this question, and number 3, you will also answer that question. Number 4 and the remainder of the questions are auto-filled. Number 11 and number 12 are essential questions for the 990 EZ. Capital contributions are contributions for a building project. Initiation fees are what you actually pay to your national organization for initiation fees. You will enter that into this section. And then also, do you rent out any part of the house? So for the question number 6, did the organization receive income from allowing non-members to use their facilities? If you rented out any part of the house for an event, please answer that yes. For section 5, all of these questions are auto-populated, but please read through each one and adjust as needed. For question number 10, make sure to enter all of the information under this question, including the phone number. We must have a phone number to file your 990 for you. And for number 11, Make sure to keep that answer as yes. If it's changed to no, that can trigger the IRS to audit your organization. For Section 6, read through each question and enter any information you may have for these accordingly. And then for Section 7, all of these auto-populate, but for question number 1, make sure that it auto-populates correctly. Once you do that, you'll click on Save and Continue and go on to step number 3. For step number 3, this is the filing cost estimate. Read through this and then click on Continue. And then step number 4 is what is the engagement letter. You can read through this, and then once you're done, make sure to click on the Authorize button. We will not receive your 990 report until you authorize it and the status shows it has been submitted. If the status still shows incomplete submission, it means that you did not click on Authorize. Once we receive your 990 report, we will look over it for any discrepancies, and if we have any questions, we will send you an email. Please make sure to keep an eye on your email so that you can answer questions in a timely manner. If you have any questions, you can submit an email to 990@omegaphi.com. You can also visit our help center that has a tax filing section with many different articles.